to my channel. I'm Charnel. Today I want to go over some book recommendations that I have for if you feel a reading slump coming on, you're in a reading slump, and you don't know where to go basically. So I have some book recommendations here. I think it's 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, perfect number. So I have 10 book recommendations. I cannot talk. To help get you out of a reading slump. So it's a mixture of romance, thrillers, and just contemporary fiction, like light reads, to help get you out of reading slump. So I'm just gonna go ahead and jump in. So I'm going to start with One of Us Knows by Alyssa Cole. This is a new to me author. I actually just read this last week because I felt not a slump, but I was just I didn't know what to read. I bought it last week and read it like 2 days later because I was just I was just in that, at that point where you're like, okay, you just finished a book. And you don't have anything lined up next, but you know you want to read something. So I'm like, okay, let me break it up, because I was reading a lot of romances. I was like, let me break it up and throw a thriller in there. So it is a thriller. So this is about, and this is not a spoiler. I'll just read this little blurb right here from the critically acclaimed and New York Times bestselling author of When No One Is Watching comes a riveting thriller about the new caretaker of a historic estate who finds herself trapped on an island with a murderer and the ghost of her past. So basically the main character, her name is Kenitra. And her Ken is like her nickname in the book, like everybody calls her that. So this is not a spoiler, but so she is, the main character she has a mental health disorder called SID. Basically she has split personalities or multiple personalities in her head. And the book is interesting that we get POVs, point of views, from most of like the main personalities, people in her head. But it is a thriller. So I don't want to say anything else. So this is like it was something totally different. I've never read anything like this before. And it's a Black woman. Look, it's a Black woman author. It just came out, so it's fresh, new, and she has a lot, like other books too that I want to get into now. Like I just got this from like a book pop up like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And I saw it was a Black author. I was like, oh, a thriller. It's a Black woman author for a thriller. So I was like, of course, get it. And I didn't know it was new. I think it was an arc. I don't know. I didn't know it was a new book. I knew nothing. And I love that I went in totally blind with this. So this is a good one to, switch it up for you. So yeah, One of Us Knows by Alyssa Cole. The next one, and this is in no particular order. So the next few, I think, the next couple of them are romances. So this is The Sweetest Remedy by Jane Igaro. She's a Nigerian-Canadian author. And I've read all her books, y'all. But this one is like my favorite from her. I actually just did an Instagram post, like a first versus favorite. Like, what's the first book you read from an author, but what's the favorite one you read from them? So she also wrote like Ties That Tether. You've probably seen that one. But yeah, this is my favorite. I loved it. I think this is a perfect light romance. I think it's like a tiny bit of spice in it, I think. But it's not like in your face, but it's like a really good story. So this one is about when a woman travels to Nigeria to attend the funeral of the father she never knew, she meets her extravagant family for the first time, finds a new and inspiring love interest, and discovers part of herself she didn't know were missing. So this is really good. Like, you get everything in this in family drama. You get love, the love story between her. So her name is Hannah, and what does it say? I don't think it says the guy's name. I can't remember. I think it's Lawrence. Yeah, it's Lawrence. But yeah. So the love story between them was so good. It's like a lot going on, but not in a bad way in this book. Like the drama with her and her family, because obviously, like it said, like this is a father that she grew up in. I think she grew up in the. Does it say here? She grew up in either Canada or the U.S. And obviously, she didn't know her dad's side of the family like that because she never knew her dad. She grew up with her mom. So yeah. So there's a lot of that going on. It's a really interesting book. It's a fun read. I highly recommend it. So the next one is one of my favorites. I've talked about this book so much on this channel. Only for the Week by Natasha Bishop. Look at this cover, y'all. Okay, so I recommend this one because it's a romance. It's full of smut, full of spice, full of spice. But, and then it's just like Sweetest Remedy, it's family drama. There's like stuff happening. And it's, what was I gonna say? Oh, it's a quick read. You see how thin it is. So I like, I usually do it on my Kindle, but I do like quick reads for like, especially quick romance reads, like for, I guess they're called novellas. For like when you're just like, you're kind of burnt out, don't want to think about anything. Again, like if you feel like you're in a slump or something like that, I think this is a good way to help you through that. So yeah, Only for the Week by Natasha Bishop. So a little bit about it is, okay, so this is the blurb. I forgot about how funny it is. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. Some of you may know me as the sister of the bride. Some of you may know me as the ex-girlfriend of the groom. But I'm willing to bet none of you know me as a woman secretly sleeping with the best man. I am. I know. I'm just as surprised as you. It was only supposed to be for the week, but every kiss, adventure, and stolen moment with Rome Martin feels like it could last forever. Oh well, what happens in Tulum stays in Tulum, right? That's all I'm giving y'all. I recommend that one. I think that's a perfect one to get you out of the slump. Okay, the next one is one of my favorites and one of my favorite authors. It's called The Authenticity Project by Claire Pooley. If you want a book that's going to help restore your faith in humanity and how nice and kind and just good we can be as a people, as a human race, read The Authenticity Project. I got this from, you see it's ripped. I got it from Thrift Books last year, I think like early last year, because I saw a book talker, I don't even remember her name. She, oh, she wasn't even a book talker. She's like one of the beauty girls I follow, but she was like showing that she was reading this book in one of her daily vlogs. I was like, oh, look at that cover. What is that? And I screenshotted it and I looked it up on Goodreads, and the synopsis sounds so good. So the girl wasn't even talking about the book. She was talking about like her lip gloss something. And I was like, what book is that on her little table or whatever? Oh my God. And I read the synopsis on Goodreads and immediately searched it on like Thrift Book, Amazon, everywhere. And I got it for like probably like $6. And you guys, this is one of my favorite books in the world ever. And this is one of my favorite authors, Claire Pooley. I love a good British author. That's like a secret about me, that I read a lot of British authors because they just write feel-good stories. I know we have a lot of American authors like that, but I like contemporary fiction books that are like feel-good books. I don't need them to be romance. I hope I'm making sense. Like, I feel like a lot of them just write really good. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. So this book is It's one of the, I love this book, y'all. Okay, the story of a solitary green notebook that brings together 6 strangers and leads to unexpected friendship and even love. So there is romance in here. So basically this book is about a lovable old man. He's cranky. Okay, this is set in the UK. They're in England. This is British humor and stuff like that. So it's lovable, cranky old man who's lonely and then eccentric. I'm sort of talking about what's going on in the back of the book. His name is Julian Jessup. And he believes that people aren't really honest with one another. So he writes, he has like this little notebook, a little green notebook, and he writes, he basically writes like on a page, he writes like about his life. So again, he's an older man. I think he's in his 70s in this, or maybe his 80s. I think it's his 80s, y'all. So he writes, not a secret, but just like the truth about his life. Because again, he's a lonely man. He's lived like a full, like crazy life. And so he writes the truth about his life, and then he leaves the notebook just in the cafe that he always goes to. Okay. So the owner of the cafe, she's one of the 6 people this book is about. She finds it, reads Julian's entry, and then adds her own entry. And then she leaves it in, where did she leave it? Oh, she doesn't leave it in her coffee shop. She goes to, or her cafe. So her cafe is kind of like a, loungy. You can sit down, drink a cappuccino, stuff like that. So there's a coffee bar across the street, and she writes her entry after Julian's and leaves it there. And then it goes from there, y'all. I'm not telling you no more. If you're in a slump, sometimes for me, a slump can come on if I think I've shared, like I deal with like depression and anxiety. And when those come on, when those feelings and moods come on, you're like, you don't feel like doing your daily routine, in which, reading is part of my daily routine, next to taking care of my child, y'all. Anyways, so yeah, I feel like this book is the perfect book to, if you don't feel like the heaviness of a thriller, you don't really feel like, reading about romance, you're not in a romance mood, but you just want something, something to help get you out of whatever like dark mood you're in or whatever. This is such a feel-good story, just about, if you just want to, like I said before, if you want your faith restored in humanity, that there are good people out there, this is the perfect book. And I would say Claire Pooley, she writes those books. So even if you don't want to start with this one, I can't remember off the top of my head, but she has a couple. Do I have some over here? No, I don't see any of her books on this shelf. This is like my TBR shelf over here. This one, and then the one y'all can't see. Oh, can you see it? That one. Those are the ones that I haven't read yet. But anyways, yeah, it's probably not over there because I read all her books. But she just writes, y'all. The other one that I recommend from Claire Pooley is, so the UK title is the People on Platform 5, but the American title is, why can't I think of what it's called? Come follow her on Instagram, and she always calls People on Platform 5. Okay, look up, or maybe I'll even put it right here on the screen, what the American title is, because I'm assuming a lot of my subscribers, a lot of y'all, my friends, are in the US. But I'll put both of the titles. Okay, I'll put both of the titles here. But I know the UK, the European title is the People on Platform 5. So right now, if you're watching and I forgot to put it up, search that, and then the American title should also come up. But yes, people are good. Read the Authenticity Project. This is so good. I love books about cranky old men too. This is another one I should have added into this list. I'll do it next time. He's a Black British author. He wrote something similar called All the Lonely People. I can't remember the author's name. It's a guy, but the title of the book is All the Lonely People. And it's pretty similar. It's a cranky old Jamaican British man and the people in his lives. Oh, in his life. So yeah, I feel like I want to reread the Authenticity Project now that I'm talking about it. Okay, so next, the Perfect Find. It is a bit thicker than Only for the Weak, but it's a romance. So this is by Tia Williams. Y'all know she's one of my top faves, one of my favorite authors. And excuse me. So this one is an age gap romance where the female character, Jenna Jones, she's 40, and then the main male character, he's younger than her. I think he's like 24, 23, 24. And his name is Eric Holmes. I recommend this one for reading slumps because I think a good romance, heartfelt, tug at your heartstrings type of romance is, if you're in the mood for it. That's what I'm trying to share, different genres and stuff. If you're in the mood for it, I think a good romance is perfect to pull you out of a reading slump, or just to switch things up. Even if you're in like reading fatigue or reading hangovers, if you came off like say you're like a thriller girl or a fantasy girl and you came off of a really thick fantasy or something that like your mind has been consumed by it for like a month or something, you need to switch things up before you get a hangover or a slump. I think a good romance like The Perfect Find will be good for that. So I'm just going to read the top part. Is starting over is never easy, but it can be scandalously sexy. That's all I'm giving you. Y'all should know that book. Another one is a quick read called Open Water. That's another Black British author, Caleb Azuma Nelson. So this is a short read. I think those are, at least for me. Also, guys, I should probably should have noted, like, all these are books that have like helped me avoid a slump. Like, yeah. So this one was so this is Open Water. I think this is his debut. Yes, it's his debut novel, or novelette, I guess you should say. So I'm trying to show you guys, like, okay, so it's written, he has a unique writing style where, like, how do I explain it? It's I don't know how to explain it. Like, his writing style is like, it's sort of conversational. Like, you feel like he's talking to you. Yes, it's like he's talking to you. So let me just read this. So the next day, you can barely hear her on the phone over the clatter of cups in the cafe. You take refuge on the street, pacing. Oh, so that's what I was trying to say. Okay, so he's talking to you like you are the main character. So he's saying you can barely hear her on the phone. You take refuge on the street. Okay, the same day you leave an Uber. So he's putting you in the shoes of the guy, the main character. It's basically, this whole book is basically him explaining his love and infatuation for the main female character. And it's really good. It's so it's set in, he's a Black British author, but he's also Ghanaian. So you get a lot of Ghanaian British culture in here, like his family and things like that. And I loved it. I really liked it. This is like one of my top reads. When did I read this? I think was it last year, the year before last I read this, like 2022, and I recommend it. It's like I said, it's a quick read. I've even had my friends borrow this like to read it, and I recommend it. And it's just a love story. Yeah, but I think I don't know if it's considered literary fiction, but to me it's not, because it's a love story. Another way that I help myself to not to try to work through a reading slump if I'm in one is just a poetry book. I figured out I don't like short story and anthology style books, but I do love poetry. So this is a book that I read. So this is Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. I think there was some controversy with her recently, but like people have been like social media has been trying to criticize her poetry, but not everything is for you. Not everything is for everybody. You know, one poet is not going to be, I'm not going to like every poet. You're not going to like every poet. Like, you know, their poetry, not them as a person. But like, I don't know. I didn't understand what was going on, so I ignored it. She didn't do anything racist or anything. Like, people were just criticizing her poetry. But anyways, I read this like years and years ago. When did this come out? Because I've had this copy for at least 7 years. 6 years, because this came out a long time ago. Like, I'll put it on the screen properly, like when I figure it out. But yeah, this is the only one I have from her. I know she has like 2 or 3 other ones that you could buy, like the box set and stuff. But like, this is so special to me because it's like I've had this for so many years, and it's such in good condition. I've reread it. I resonate with so many of the poems. You know, she has illustrations and things like that. I don't know if she does the illustrations. I should probably look in here. It probably says it, but I recommend it. Like, it's really good. Like you see, it's just little stanzas, little poems, and yeah, it's in sections. The breaking, the healing. I recommend it. I don't know what else to say. It's I think poetry books are just really good, you know, quick and easy little things to like, especially there's other poetry books that I have. I should probably do like a roundup of poetry books that I have. That like a lot of them are about love, like the other books that I have. And then one I have Planters and Are Becoming, which is like about like Afro-Latina in the Caribbean, like her identity and stuff. Anyways, long story short, I recommend poetry books to help you through a reading slump or to avoid one, especially for maybe like you're like me who loves contemporary fiction and literary fiction. So like I said before, this is one of the styles of books that I read to help get me out of like a funk that a heavy book has got me in or something like that. So yeah, I recommend it. Milk and Honey. Actually, any of her poetry books. This is the only one I have. Like I said, but I know she has like 2, 3 other ones. I just haven't gotten to them. But I will. Okay, so I'm gonna recommend something else. So I recommend Did You Hear About Kitty Carr by Crystal Smith Paul. So this came out last year in 2023, like early last year. It's an historical fiction. Yeah, it's historical fiction, but I love it because I think this is, I vividly remember reading this, when I was sort of in a slump. Like, I just saw it on like Instagram or Goodreads or something, like when they like first came out, and I immediately went to like, I think I went on to Amazon and bought it, like the day it came out, or pre-ordered it or something. I saw it was like a coming soon or something like that on Goodreads. I saw, and the synopsis just drew me in. So it's a passing story. If you know what that is, if you don't know what that is, I mean, it's I don't know if it's so much happening today, but in the early 1900s, like throughout Jim Crow era, a lot of lighter skinned Black people would, if they could, like say they had light features, loose curl patterns, loose hair that was easily straightened, and like light enough skin, like this person, I would say, like even even lighter, even a bit darker. If they had light enough skin, and like you see on my nose, obviously a Negro nose, but they had like the features that weren't, and they had like thinner lips and stuff like that. If you just were a black person, you can get away with it for even just for your livelihood and your family's livelihood. They would pass as white, or just pass as I just read The Personal Librarian, and she was passing as Portuguese. She was saying that, oh, I'm Portuguese. But today we would say like that's a white person. But yeah, so it's a passing story, and it is so good. I vividly remember after reading this, I went on like a historical fiction, I guess, book binge. Like I was just reading, I think I read Evelyn Hugo around this time and everything. It was just fascinating to me because I would say this is similar. If you loved or liked Evelyn Hugo, the secret lives, is it? The Secret Lives of Evelyn Hugo? Oh, The Seven Husbands. What am I talking about? The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. You would like this because that's another passing story, but like on the that's another passing story in the terms of, what was she? I think she was Puerto Rican or something Hispanic, and passing as white. Anyways, it's old Hollywood. It's glamour. You do get all of that. And all of that. Let me see if I can say. Okay, so I'll just say this. Okay. It's a multi-generational saga that traverses the glamour of old Hollywood and the seductive draw of modern-day showbiz. So when Kitty Carr Tate, a white icon of the silver screen, dies and bequeaths her multi-million-dollar estate to the St. John sisters, 3 young, wealthy black women, it prompts questions, lots of questions. And that's all I'm gonna tell y'all. That's all I'm saying. That book, if you're in a reading slump, that will get you out of it. If you've never read historical fiction, and like I was saying, like when I read the synopsis, it's also modern day, but you do get to learn. Like I think the stories with the 3 sisters are like present 2000. I think this came out in 2023, so yeah, it's probably modern 2020-ish times, and then you get the flashbacks. Just like Evelyn Hugo, you get this flashbacks to the 50s, 60s, the era that Kitty Carr was, starting out and building her name in Hollywood and show business. So I loved it. I recommend it. And the next one is another quick read. Nora Grows Off Script. With the author is Annabelle Monaghan. This was such a feel-good romance. It's a quick read. It's only 240. Nope. No. 257 pages of story. So this is another one I think that will help you get out of a slump. So this one is, so there's more than one way to write a love story. So Nora is, I read a lot of stories and the main character's name is Nora, or authors are just using the name Nora. Anyways, so Nora is a scriptwriter, so she writes like, Hallmark movies and things like that. And okay, let me see if I can try to sum it up. So romance channel screenwriter Nora Hamilton knows the formula for love better than anyone, but when her too good to work husband leaves her and their 2 kids, Nora turns her marriage's collapse into the best script of her life. Oh, that's what it was. Y'all read this a long time ago. So when her marriage broke up, the way that her and her husband broke up, it was a mess. Like, he was trifling as hell. So she wrote it all. She was like, because I think she had, that's what it was. It's coming back to me, guys. So she had so she's a script writer. So she had like a deadline, and she had no idea. She was like in writer's block, had no idea what to write about. So she was like, let me just write about my life. and what happened. But, you know, obviously not her and her husband's like exact names and things like that. It was just, she just wrote about, you know, a couple breaking up and yada, yada, yada. And yeah, it goes from there. So they, this is all in the synopsis, but so her script was bought by the network and they wanted a big name. So this actor, Leo Vance, is casted as the ex-husband, and the studio, they're like, well, we want to make it authentic, so they wanted to shoot at her house. So that's where her and Leo Vance meet, and it goes from there. So he's like a Hollywood heartthrob, she's a scriptwriter, and yeah, it's cute. I love this book. It's really cute. I haven't read what's her other one? Something about summer or something, but I need to read that one. I don't know if it's a spinoff of this one, but it's another, like, it's very similarly styled to this one with the cover, and it's the same, like, very similar length to this one. So Annabelle Monaghan, I think she's a good writer. The book was written really well. I ate it up, and it's like I said, it's a quick read. It's 200 something pages, so I think that's a good book slump book. And the last one I've recommended this before, but I love this cute little book. Fake It Till You Bake It by Jamie Wesley. This was a cute read. I loved it. It's a good, like, middle of the road book. It's just no trauma, no drama, no, like, you know, there's like a little bit of drama, but, like, you know, like, it's like funny stuff that happens for the characters. I loved it. So love mixes perfectly with sugar and flour. So it is about, so Jada Townsend Matthews, so she comes from like a rich family. Yeah, she comes from a rich family, so she's a rich girl. Like, it's like that type of book. I love it. And then what's the guy's name? Donovan Dale. I was like, what is his name? I always forget the main male characters' names, y'all. I don't know why. And this is based in San Diego, so he is a professional football player, and he has a bakery. Jada is, she was coming off her reality show where she embarrassed herself or something like that. And so she went home to San Diego, and, you know, their paths cross, and she ends up working at his bakery and helping. Yes, it's really cute. It's really cute. I highly recommend this one. Like I was saying before, a good, cutesy, lightweight, light read book is like, it's a good way to mix things up for you to get out of a slump or avoid a slump or a book hangover, reading hangover, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, so that was the last one. I'll do more of these because there's a lot more. But those are the ones that I've read. As I read more, I'll also add more to the list of like when to do another video to recommend you guys more book slump avoidant books. Yeah, so that's all I have, guys. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.